Imagination is the genesis of all action. It's the mighty instrument used by scientists, artists, inventors, architects, and mystics. To imagine is to conceive an idea and to impress it on your subconscious mind. Whatever is impressed on the subconscious is expressed on the screen of space as form, experience, and event. If you wish to be successful, you must first imagine yourself as successful. If you wish to be wealthy, you must first imagine yourself as wealthy. When the world says it's impossible, it can't be done, the person with imagination says it's already done. That's from a book by Joseph Murphy. Dr. Joseph Murphy, who has written so many books on the power of the subconscious mind. So unbelievable that not only that we have this power, but the fact that so few people use the power that we have within ourselves to create and design the life that we want. And so it's through the imagination. It's through the imagination that we can access the power of the subconscious mind. It may seem strange or abstract to you, and sometimes it does to me also. But I have a track record. I can look back and think, wow, I took something that I imagined, I created in my mind, I thought in my mind, I married it with strong emotion, and I kept it as a dominating thought in my mind, so it got planted in my subconscious. And then, sometimes years later, what I had saw, I don't think that's proper, what I had seen in my imagination, the thought I had, and then created an image, that image, years later, manifested into its physical reality that which I had imagined so many years prior. And so I know, not sometimes, not once in a while, every single time, if you will think first, then imagine, you create vibration that gets put out into the universal mind, universal substance, the great power, that whichever you believe to be the universal mind or power. To me, it's God. I call it God. It is God to me. But as Dr. Carl Jung discovered when he was studying different cultures and the way that they thought, from a psychological view, he found that all these different cultures, even though they had no communication with each other, all of them had an underlying similar belief in a higher power, something that was a creator, something that was of spirit, not of human creation. And so he was marveled that they had such similar thoughts, ideas, and philosophies, even though they never had any contact with each other. And so he really dedicated his life to studying those kinds of philosophies and beliefs. But Dr. Joseph Murphy, that's who I was just reading from, his book on the power of the subconscious mind and how we can engage it, use it, utilize it to make our dreams, our ambitions, our desires come to fruition, come true. We, by the power of our belief, can create so many great things. And it really goes to our ability to design our life. We should not be managing our life. We should be designing it. I get excited about these things, and I know them to be true. And I just love to go back and read. In this case, Dr. Joseph Murphy, I believe, I will have to look it up. I believe in the 1930s or 40s was the time he was writing his books on the power of the subconscious mind. But I love going back and discovering that 2,500 years ago, people were using the power of their imagination, the power of their subconscious mind. And I believe it's in this chapter, but I'll see. They have discovered that prehistoric cultures utilize the power of imagery, the power of their imagination to create and to make come true that which they desired by creating pictures within their minds. Prehistoric cultures sketched images on the walls of their caves of them catching fish, catching animals and killing them and eating them. Why did they put those images on the cave? So that they would see them on a constant basis. Because they knew if they would create images of prosperity, of gaining food to sustain them, they would come to be, they would come to fruition. Even in prehistoric times, they were using the power of imagery, which got it planted in their subconscious mind. This is an exciting stuff, everybody. If you haven't already, get the works of Dr. Joseph Murphy. I love these things that are empowering to us, that were written so many years ago, and yet they are evergreen. And you know, I like sharing and creating evergreen ideas and thoughts. Things that were true yesterday, they're true today, and they will be true tomorrow. This particular chapter is The Wonders of a Disciplined Imagination. The Wonders of a Disciplined Imagination, from the book by Dr. Joseph Murphy, Wealth and Success. Maximize your potential through the power of your subconscious mind to create wealth and success. We are creators. We were created in God's image because God created us so that we could also be creative. We are creators. We can create, design an amazing life for ourselves if we will choose to do it. If we will move forward with strong belief. And it could be good or bad. Choose your thoughts with intention. Your subconscious mind will not argue with you. I think that's one of the biggest ideas that I've been able to discern when it comes to the power of the subconscious mind is the fact that the subconscious mind accepts what the conscious mind will plant in it, and it will go to work on making it a physical reality, good or bad. You could plant corn and it will grow in this fertile soil, or you can plant poison. It will grow in this fertile soil. So is your subconscious mind ready for the planting. But it's up to us, good or bad, corn or poison, what we plant in our subconscious mind. Dominating thoughts married with strong emotion get planted. So we have to constantly be auditing our thoughts. Not only is it empowering and creative for our good life to audit our circle of friends and people that we have in our life, we have to audit our thoughts. And it's the dominating thoughts that are going to have control over what we get implanted in our subconscious mind. So it's not going to be a sporadic thought. Don't worry or have anxiety that a sporadic bad thought is going to come into my mind and it's going to make it come true. No. Our creative, conscious mind can choose to accept or reject thoughts that come into it. Thoughts from social media, friends, TV, news, we can accept or reject. We have the power in our conscious mind to do that. And so, unless we accept those negative, bad thoughts together with strong emotions, that's when they get implanted in our subconscious mind. So we have total control over the thoughts that we allow in and get planted in our subconscious mind. Take over that power. You have it. I have it. Everybody has it. Les Robbins is someone who's into this positive thinking, I guess you could call it. Well, not really positive thinking. Really, it's about designing your life. And his tagline is, you have greatness within you, and you do. It's not out there. It's not somewhere in the distance. It's not somewhere where we can't touch or see. It's within us, inside. The Bible says the Holy Spirit and the power of Jesus Christ dwells within us. The power is in here. What a better place to hide our personal power than within our own heart and soul. But yet, we can find it. We can choose it. We can believe it. And by faith, we are healed. And by faith and belief, we create our lives. Powerful stuff, everybody. And I get excited when I read these things and I realize that I've seen them in real life, in real time. I've seen these things come to fruition. I've seen that people had thoughts. You have to look at real life examples. A person gets a thought in their mind of a house they want to design. They have the thought in their mind, and then they see an image of what they want to create, and then they write it down. They create an architectural plan of that house. And so it's the total process of thinking, seeing the vision, writing it down, interacting. All of those things interacting creates dominating thoughts and images that cause your subconscious to realize that's important to you. It's implanted, and now it will begin to grow. Things will come together that will cause the materials, the workers, to start to coalesce. And then, good or bad, beautiful or ugly, that building is going to be built. The physical reality is going to be built based on your thoughts and images and the process of writing it down, thinking about it on a daily basis. Dominating thoughts are what gets created from your subconscious mind. You have the power. I have it. Your neighbor has it. Everybody has it. Will you, will I, will our neighbors, will they choose to enact it? I don't know. I've done it in the past. Will I do in the future? Yes, I will. I know I will. So many great things. It's just as easy to imagine yourself as successful as it is to imagine failure. And you know what? It's far more interesting. It's just as easy to design a great, prosperous life as it is to design a life of failure and sadness and despair. It's no greater energy. Why not design a life of prosperity? Design a life of excitement, of constant learning and improving. That's a more interesting life, and it takes no more effort than it does to manifest a poor, failing, despair existence. Choose the road less traveled. To quote somebody's book, but I just can't remember who it is. Hey, consider, as it says here. Let me go back to what Dr. Joseph Murphy says. Consider for a moment that all we see and find useful and practical in our lives has come forth from the imaginative faculties of men and women. The clothing we wear, the cars we drive, the seats upon which we rest, the houses that we live in, and more. All the great works of art are the products of inspired imagination, inspired, spirit-based thoughts and ideas. The painting of the beautiful Madonna first existed in the mind of the disciplined artist. It's the imagination that leads humankind onward and Godward. It's in our imagination. Bob Proctor calls it the higher faculties that we have, right? Perception, will, imagination, memory, intuition, reason. Bob Proctor said, hey, even your dog or your cat has the five senses. They can hear, see, smell, taste, and touch. But as far as we know, they operate by instinct. Instinct was taken away from us. We operate by the higher faculties. Perception, will, imagination, memory, intuition, and reason. Imagination is the key that we're talking about today, and how that gets married with the subconscious mind. And as Dr. Joseph Murphy just said in his book, everything that we see, and know about, the chair we sit on, this table, those curtains, that boat, that dock, everything created started in the mind of a man or woman from their creative imagination. It came to be a physical reality. The power is available to all of us. And I want to encourage you to take advantage of that power. I want to embolden you. Start designing your life. Don't manage it. And I get excited over encouraging other people to take on these ideas and thoughts. And see for yourself. Test it out. See, because I know, because of my past, my track record, that I personally have done these things, and I've seen what has manifested into its physical reality, and I'm amazed. I'm so amazed that I can't help but, in this day, today, now, put into action my creative imagination. It was first in my mind to create a podcast like this, right? And I started to realize many years ago how simple it is to be a creative force in our own lives. Is it that simple to decide, I want that? What do you have to do to get that? And to start doing those things in the proper order? Is it really that simple? And I found out that it was. I had it in my mind to be a professional bowler, PBA, Professional Bowlers Association, that I used to watch on TV, and I imagined in my mind competing in a PBA event. And so I put that philosophy into action. Okay, what do I have to do to become a professional bowler? Oh, you have to average over 200 for a certain amount of time, and then you can apply to the Professional Bowlers Association, and then you will get your PBA card, and you will be allowed to compete as a professional in Pro Bowler Association events. Okay, so I started doing those things. First, I have to average over 200 in 2 leagues for a minimum of 32 weeks, I believe it was. And so I did that. I practiced and practiced. I joined a league, and I averaged 212 for 2 years. I applied to the PBA. I got my PBA card, and then I competed in the U.S. Open of Bowling. Dream come true. Check mark. Did I win? No. Did I do very well? No. But my dream came true. I made it happen. Creative vision started with a thought. I imagined it, and then I took action on what I needed to do to get to where I wanted to go. I found out the steps, and then I took them one by one. I couldn't jump to the top step. You got to do the steps here, and then it's a ladder of achievement. Oh, it's so exciting because I know you can do it. I know I can continue to do it. Your creative imagination, your subconscious mind does not know age. You can be just as creative at age 70, at age 80 as you were when you were 30. Only by our dominating thoughts does it limit us. When we start saying and speaking, well, I'm 60, I can't do that. I'm 70, I can't do that. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy that our subconscious mind will serve up for us that which we spoke into existence. Right? God didn't snap his fingers, right? He didn't explode things into existence. He spoke it into existence. That's an example of in the Bible we can take. First, there was the Word. And so be careful what you speak into existence. We have the power and creative imagination to speak things into existence. Bruce Lee said, never speak negatively about yourself to other people. And never speak negatively about yourself to yourself, not even in a joking manner. Don't even joke about it. And I think that's important to adopt as a life philosophy. Never speak negatively about yourself to other people and yourself. Self-talk, what we say to ourselves, is very important. It's very important to how we create our state of mind, our state of being, right? I learned from Tony Robbins a long time ago how we can create changes in our state. We can have a strategy that's kind of a triangle. We start with our physical movement of our body, our physicality. You want to change how you're feeling? Change how you're moving your body. Motion affects emotion. Then change what you're focusing on. Where focus goes, energy flows. Then change what you're saying to yourself, how you're speaking to yourself. And when you combine those threads together, they become an entangled, strong rope, stronger than steel. It's exciting, everybody. And you have that power within you. And I encourage you to take action on it today. People have been using the power of imagination since the earliest times. And I was talking earlier about those prehistoric cultures. And it's the archaeologists who discovered those sketches on the cave walls of people catching fish, of hunting, capturing animals, and feasting and feeding themselves. They wanted those images on the cave walls because they already knew, maybe just from being embedded with the knowledge, that they needed to have those images in their head to make them come true. Archaeologists tell us that prehistoric cave dwellers carved pictures on cave walls of the animals and fish that they wanted to catch. Why did they do that? Why did they carve these images on the walls of their caves? Scientists say that these early people instinctively knew. For some reason, they had the knowledge implanted in their head and mind that by picturing, literally seeing what they wanted, some power would bring this source of food into their lives so that they could eat and survive. They understood the law of mind, the power of imagination. It's a law of mind, like the law of gravity. If you jump off a building, you are going to fall, regardless of your race, creed, color, age. The law of gravity works the same for all of us. The law of success, imagination, creativity, subconscious mind works for all of us. Everybody that uses it. So powerful. And I so want to encourage you to take control of your own personal power. In the golden age of Greece, more than 2,500 years ago, the ancient Greeks used the law of mind and imagination. Pregnant women surrounded themselves with beautiful pictures and statues so that their unborn children might receive from their mother's mind images of health, beauty, symmetry, and order. And I would say also they were picking up on the vibrations from their mothers, the way their mothers were thinking. Isn't it interesting? 2,500 years ago in Greece, they knew to have the mothers of unborn childs, but they knew enough to have the mothers of unborn children surround themselves with beauty and beautiful images so that that would affect the thoughts of the mothers, and those thoughts would be translated in a positive way to the unborn babies. Now, we know that's true because even today, we know the importance of reading to children. Mothers will read out loud books to their unborn children. They know that children hear subconsciously, not consciously, subconsciously, the sounds going through the womb. Those are vibrations that transport through walls, everything that's present. Those vibrations transcend walls, and it goes into the baby's subconscious mind. That's why mothers will play beautiful music while they're pregnant. That affects the baby. Just like in a negative way, if there's constant fighting, constant fear, anxiety in the mother, those thoughts, vibrations, and hormones affect the baby in a negative way. The studies are there, they've been done, so now we know the power of our thoughts. And we are king and queen over our thoughts. We get to choose what we think. As Viktor Frankl said in his amazing book, As a Man Thinketh. Now that was James Allen. Man's Search for Meaning was Viktor Frankl. We can give meaning to our thoughts, and it affects how our life turns out. You have these powers within you. And I encourage you. Hey, I hope this resonates with you. And if you're listening on one of the podcast platforms, listen, follow, like, leave me a comment. And if you're watching and or listening on a YouTube channel, hey, listen, subscribe, like, leave me a comment. I answer all my comments. Perhaps you have a dream or plan that you'd like to accomplish, but friends and colleagues and others tell you that it cannot be done. You might even say that to yourself. Who do I think I am to think that I could do this? I can't do that. I don't know enough. You don't have the right context. Well, in fact, you have everything you need to accomplish anything you want. You already have it within yourself to do and go after whatever you want. The results can't be guaranteed, but you definitely have everything you need to go forward and start doing now. When I think back on my comedy career, when I got it in my mind because somebody gave me an idea that I accepted into my conscious mind with strong emotions, I implanted into my subconscious mind, and then I went out and I rented my own theater on the Sunset Strip in Hollywood. I rented the Roxy Theater and I produced my own comedy show with me as the headliner. Had I ever done that before? No. Did anybody tell me how to do it? No. But I believed that I could do it. I contacted the theater. How do I rent this place? Well, you got to do this. Okay, I'll do that. You're going to have to get $1 million insurance policy. Okay, I'll do that. Got to hire a security guard. Okay, I'll do it. Did I know how to do it? No, I didn't know how to do it. I called my insurance man. Hey, I'm doing an event. I need $1 million insurance policy for one night. Oh, yeah, Cliff. I've done that for many entertainers. Absolutely. I know what to do. I need to fax over to the venue a doc piece of paper that's going to show that you have $1 million insurance policy for the night of the event. Give me the dates. It'll cost you $250. $250 for $1 million? Wow. I found out how to do it. Did I know how to do it? No. Oh, I believed I could do it, and I did it. And you know what? You have within you the power to believe and to achieve. But before you achieve, you have to conceive and believe. It has to be in that order. You can do it. I know you can do it. I have more confidence in what you can do than maybe you do in yourself. But you can change how you think at the blink of an eye. And I would encourage you to do it, everybody. As a matter of fact, the next paragraph talks exactly about what I was just talking about. In order to receive, you must first conceive or picture your desire. We make pictures in our heads. Yeah, we think ideas, and then we have an imagination that creates a picture for us. That's why you can always change that picture. When you have a negative trigger, a negative memory, you have a negative anchor, something happens, and then that negative memory comes and it affects you in such a negative way. We have the power, if that's a loop that continues to happen, to change that image. We can actually make it small. We can shrink it down to a postage size image. We can change it to black and white. We can mute the sound, or we can make the people talking sound like Donald Duck. It's making me laugh right now when I think about an image that I changed in my head. And if you start using the swoosh pattern, where you take that negative image, swoosh it out, replace it with a different, swoosh it out, replace it. Eventually now that trigger, that memory, that anchor is going to create the new image you created. and it will not have a negative effect on you, or much of a negative effect, because you made that image so inconsequential. It's amazing the power that we have over the images that we create in our own minds. You have this power. Start using it. There's an old fable. I like this old fable that illustrates the concept of the images and the power that we have. There was a Persian prince who had a crooked back and he couldn't stand up straight. He hired a skillful sculptor to make a statue of himself, true to his exact likeness in all ways, except his back was straight as an arrow. I wish to see myself as I ought to be and as God wants me to be, the prince said. Well, the sculptor completed the statue, and the prince placed that in a secret corner of his garden. 2 or 3 times every day, regularly and systematically, he had a plan of action to see this statue on a regular basis. He would go into his garden, and he would meditate upon that statue. He would look at it. He would see it. He would keep it as a dominating thought. And particularly, he was going to take notice on a daily basis the straightness of the spine. As the months passed, people began to say, you know what? The prince's back is no longer crooked. He stands up straight like a nobleman. The fable says that the prince went out into the garden, and behold, it was true. His back was as straight as the statue's. He made it come to be. And ladies and gentlemen of the jury, we have the power to make it come true as we picture it to be. Use the power of your subconscious mind. I hope this resonated with you. I hope it encourages you to discipline your imagination. The wonders of a disciplined imagination. Once you start enacting the power of your imagination, you're going to find it wonderful. You got this, everybody. I'll see you in the next episode.